I'd like to leave you with one last title from one of the finest studios in the world.
I remember when that first reveal hit the internet.
It's a lot to take in, kid. Where do I even start?
I rewatched that trailer a million times and I still could not believe a game could ever look that good. But as we know now, it somehow ended up looking even better. Uncharted 4 is obsessed with detail. Books are stacked deliberately on top of a hatch, placed just right so that when it opens, they slide off naturally. A tiny, almost unnecessary touch, but it mattered to the people who made this game. It is obsessed with its characters, the subtext behind words left unsaid, the way Nathan's eyes drift during a conversation with his wife, the world fading as he slips back into memories of a life he clearly still longs for. And these characters, they don't just exist in cutscenes, they reveal themselves through gameplay. In the prison escape, as you reach for a ladder, Rafe, the main antagonist, will push past you to climb first. It's quick, but it tells you everything about him, who he is, what he values. Blink and you'll miss it. But that is the point. This is the level of detail that some might call obsessive. Naughty Dog would call it the new standard. A studio chasing a singular goal, to create the greatest Uncharted game ever made, with a level of visual fidelity that felt almost impossible on a PlayStation 4.
Quite the crow's nest, huh? There it is. Just on the other side of the river.
Uncharted 4 is obsessed with action. How Nathan runs, how he jumps, how he fights, the way he can leap onto an enemy and catch their weapon in one seamless motion. Even its biggest set pieces, like the chase, feel like a movie, something you should not be controlling, and yet somehow you are. Uncharted 4 is all about obsession. The cost of it, the pull of it, the inability to let go. And when you look closely, everything from how it was made, to how it plays, to how its characters are written, feel like a product of that very same obsession. Which is probably why, 10 years later, I'm still just as obsessed with it.
In real life, what can you do?
I'm
Show
telling
me,
you.
what can you
I'm
do
telling
in
you.
real life?
What do you think about that?
Hey, are you happy?
Yeah, of course. You? Really?
Come here.
Are you happy? Such a simple question that Elena asks, and yet the fact that she has to ask it tells you everything about what this game is really about. What makes us happy, and whether we're willing to admit when our current lives no longer do. I still think A Normal Life is one of the best chapters in this game, because it's not loud or obvious in what it's trying to say. Instead, Naughty Dog's designers and artists infuse the house with so much visual subtext that you understand exactly where Nathan and Elena are mentally without a single word being spoken. The clothes left on the floor, the unmade bed, the attic packed with relics of the past, memories stacked so high that they almost spill over. Nathan is clinging to his past and uncomfortable in his present, running around with a toy gun in the attic because it's the closest he can get to the exciting life he used to lead. So when Nathan zones out during a conversation with Elena, it's easy to read it as disinterest. But it's not. It's not a lack of care, it's a lack of fulfillment. Nathan made a promise. He was done with that life, and he's slowly realizing it's a promise that is very difficult to keep. And that is why when Sam, Nathan's brother, enters the picture and asks for his help, Nathan barely hesitates. Sam tells him that Hector Alcazar, a drug lord he shared a jail cell with, wants Henry Avery's treasure. Sam, obsessed with Avery's treasure since he and Nathan were kids, shared a little too much in that jail cell, and now Hector wants in. Sam has 3 months to find it, or Hector will have him killed. It's the perfect justification. Nathan convinces himself that helping his brother isn't selfish if it means saving his life. So not telling Elena becomes a choice, one he frames as protecting her. But deep down, he knows the truth. He wants this. He misses the adventure because he loves it, almost as much as he loves Elena. I've always felt that on some level, Nathan actually knows Sam is lying to him in this moment. He never really questions the story or pushes back, because the lie gives him permission. Permission to go back, permission to be who he used to be. So he lies to Elena, just like Sam lies to him. And the deeper he gets into the search for Avery's treasure, the easier that lie becomes. And the most uncomfortable part of it all is that you as the player start to forget about Elena too. And honestly, who wouldn't when adventure feels this good? Uncharted 4 is first and foremost an action-adventure game, and the philosophy behind its design is simple. Make it feel like an action movie you are somehow controlling. That means a few things. The HUD is minimal, stripped back so it never reminds you that you're playing a game. Instead, it pulls you into the character, into the world, and into the story. Cutscenes now flow effortlessly into gameplay and vice versa. Sometimes so smoothly that you don't even realize it's happened. You take a step or move the camera, and then you come to that crazy realization. Wait, this is gameplay? How the f*** did they do that? It's easy to forget just how big of a technical leap this was back in 2016, because as recently as The Last of Us, transitions between gameplay and cutscenes often had to be stitched together with a giant black screen. The PlayStation 4 finally allowed Naughty Dog to fully realize the vision they had always been chasing, to make gameplay and story feel indistinguishable. To never give your brain the chance to separate the two. You're experiencing the story as you play, just as much as you're playing while experiencing the story. And that seamless, minimal design philosophy extends to how the game actually feels to play. They want the game to be easy to pick up. No overwhelming mechanics to learn, no crazy button combinations to study, instead focusing on immersion above all else. Traversal, combat, and stealth are the three defining gameplay pillars of Uncharted 4. Traversal is often considered the weakest of the three, so let's start there. The main critique being that it often feels like you can just turn off your brain, push the analog stick in the right direction, and Nathan just somehow climbs. And that might be because what we're playing is only part of what this traversal system was originally meant to be. Due to time constraints and changing leadership during development, systems like a stamina meter that probably would have made climbing far more engaging had to be cut. As it exists in the final game, climbing is used more as a way to give you space to actually take in the world you're moving through, much like pausing to look over the Italian Ocean as boats drift in the docks, or taking a moment to breathe in Libertalia, seeing dense vegetation growing over a lost pirate utopia. Climbing is not difficult, but it is often beautiful, and I would argue that beauty and attention to detail, at least in Naughty Dog games, are as much a part of the gameplay as any other mechanic. Every movement Nathan makes has a distinct animation. Up, down, left, right. Naughty Dog accounted for it all. In fact, they accounted for almost everything. There are unique animations for every which way you decide to enter the Jeep, from the front, the back, even the side. Naughty Dog knew you were going to do that, so they spent the time to build it. They took hours to program rocks that, when shot or disturbed, realistically break, slide down and group together as they settle. These developers are truly obsessed with the tiniest of details, even down to how a tire grips the ground, realistically recreating traction, and then turning it into a full-blown gameplay mechanic, used to traverse the muddy terrain of Madagascar. Traversal in Uncharted 4 is simple. There's really no way around that. But some of the game's best moments come from the developers taking that simple climbing system and layering it into more thoughtful level design, using gravity and timing to make you think. The Scottish graveyard with its steep rock slides forces you to control your descent and choose your angle carefully, or the clock tower, where you time your movements around rotating mechanisms, or when the game introduces one of its most underutilized mechanics, the baton.
Pretty sure you don't need this.
Now traversal becomes a little bit more deliberate. You're not just climbing, you're looking for surfaces you can drive into, and as a result, planning your route more carefully. I especially love the satisfying animation that occurs when you hit the button a little too late, causing the baton to drag a long line across the rock face. Moments like these really do elevate the climbing, but they are too few and far between. The game, simply put, has too much climbing, and this problem becomes especially noticeable on repeat playthroughs, where the initial excitement and sense of scale have kinda worn off. Thankfully, they mitigate some of that repetition by giving you a way to skip ahead on repeat playthroughs in the form of encounters. This lets you jump straight into the moments where you get to use stealth and combat, which, let's be honest, is where the game truly shines. There's a real sense of forward momentum in how the game structures its combat encounters. Most of these sequences take place in more open environments, giving you a wide range of options. It is something that Naughty Dog would expand on significantly in The Last of Us Part 2, but even here you can see them pushing towards giving Nathan Drake far more flexibility than previous entries. You are almost never standing still. Instead, you flow effortlessly from stealth to combat, guiding Nathan through hiding spots, quickly taking out unsuspecting guards. I love the little detail where you knock out a guard from a ledge, and sometimes he'll grab your leg as he falls. The best part is that this entire system is optional. You can stay in stealth as long as you want, or break it instantly. Even better, you can exit stealth, engage in combat, lose the enemy line of sight, and then slip right back into stealth again. There is one thing I don't like though, the lack of a true counter mechanic during hand-to-hand combat. In these fights, there's very little you can do defensively beyond just absorbing the hits and mashing your attack. This is one of those moments where the focus on cinematic presentation comes at the cost of mechanical depth. That said, my complaints kinda end there, because when the cinematic flow and dynamism of the combat sandbox take over, my goodness does this game feel incredible to play. You can't help but get hyped up as the soundtrack picks up and explosions and gunfire fill the screen. You go from shooting, to sprinting at an enemy, to landing a punch, and then a takedown, and then straight back into gunfire. Oh yeah, the grappling hook. How the hell did I go this long without talking about the grappling hook? It is easily the most fun tool in the game, and the fact that Naughty Dog incorporates it not only in traversal, but combat encounters as well, is nothing short of a masterstroke in game design. It makes replaying these sections so much more engaging, because you're almost chasing that perfect movie moment. And speaking of perfect movie moments, you already know how good the chase sequence is at the end of Chapter 11, but indulge me if you will. Let me take you on a trip down memory lane. It starts in the busy Kings Bay markets, and overflowing with that classic Naughty Dog attention to detail. Then suddenly, gunfire erupts. Immediately you're thrown into a firefight in the middle of a panicked market. This is where the destructible environments truly shine. Cover you think will protect you suddenly splinters apart as bullets tear through the wood. Then a tanker bursts through a wall. Now look, you somehow make your way to the jeep, but now the real chase begins. Just keep heading downhill sounds simple enough, until the armored truck shows up again. Now you're speeding through the crowded streets of Kings Bay, smashing through backyards, washing lines, and eventually an entire marketplace.
Where the hell are you going? You're the one who said just head down!
Luckily, you finally spot Sam, but now the chase changes completely. You're no longer running away, you're trying to catch up. The road begins to disappear beneath you, so Nate does what Nate always does. Something completely ridiculous.
Here, take the wheel. What? Out of your goddamn mind? Yeah, probably.
Suddenly, you're hanging on for dear life, being dragged through thick mud while shooting at enemies and desperately trying to pull yourself towards the vehicle. At this point, you've already used up the number of times holy shit can reasonably be used in a sentence. Eventually, you make it to the top of the vehicle, firing at enemies behind Sam, while they return fire from every direction. Then, the vehicle you're on catches fire, so naturally, it's time to jump to another one. How the hell is any of this possible? Because remember, none of this is a cutscene. You're controlling every second of it, every jump, every shot, and finally, every crash. Nathan is now compromised, but luckily, Sam reaches him just in time. Now Sam drives, while you focus entirely on unloading an unhealthy amount of bullets into the armored truck behind you. It is complete insanity, and somehow it all works seamlessly. The greatest action sequence ever put in a video game. Nathan's fourth adventure is, in my opinion at least, his most bombastic, loud, and breathtaking, serving one very important purpose: that while you're on this grand adventure, while Nathan loses himself in the excitement and adrenaline of hunting down Avery's treasure, you both forget about one very important thing.
That treasure is as good as ours. Shit.
How's the Malaysia job going, Nate? Seems like you're a hair off course.
The first time I played Uncharted 4, its underlying message was not all that clear to me. Much like Nathan, I was having way too much fun hunting Avery's treasure to really think about what the game was trying to say. 10 years later though, this game struck a chord far deeper than I expected.
Who are you? Come on. I'm me. Come on, it's me. It's different this time. Oh my God. I have to save him. I don't even care about the treasure.
The look on your face when you walked into this room. If you're done lying to me, then you should stop lying to yourself.
You should stop lying to yourself. What a devastating line. Because Elena knows something that Nathan still refuses to admit to himself. This was never really about saving Sam. How many times do we change for the people we love? Leave behind the things we care about because we think it will make us better partners or better friends. But in doing so, slowly give up the very things that make us who we are. Luckily, marriage is built on one very important vow, for better or worse. If you truly love someone, you'll give them the grace to make mistakes. And that is why, in Nathan's lowest moments, the person who ultimately saves him is no one other than Elena. This section of the game where Nathan and Elena have not fully reconciled but are forced to work together is arguably my favorite part of the story. These are two people who love each other deeply, but there's a rift between them, one that began forming long before Nathan told this lie.
I wasn't trying to protect you. It's just, I made a promise that I was done with this life.
We both did.
Yeah, but I broke it. I didn't tell you because I was afraid.
Afraid of what?
Of losing you. I guess I was protecting myself. You know?
We have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah. Should keep moving.
Yeah.
How often do we hide what is truly going on inside our hearts? Not sharing the deepest, sometimes darkest part of ourselves because we're terrified of what it might do to the relationships we care about most. Nathan lied, but so did Elena. They both missed this life, and instead of just being honest about it, they convinced themselves they were happier living a normal one for each other. And honestly, if that's not love, I don't know what is. But the mark of a truly great relationship is not one where you abandon the things that make you happy. It's one where you create space for each other to be fully yourselves. And seeing Nathan again, not distracted, but genuinely excited for the first time in years while discovering the dead pirates of Libertalia, that is when reconciliation truly happens.
These are some of history's greatest pirates, and they all perished in an instant at this very table.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Because this is the Nathan she remembers falling in love with. I do not think that obsession is inherently unhealthy, but I do think it leaves you empty in the end. when you have no one to share it with. Rafe dies beside Avery's treasure because, just like Avery, his obsession with keeping the treasure for himself consumed him. Sam finally gets the thing he spent his entire life chasing, and yet still feels empty.
I just kind of thought that after we found Avery's treasure, I'd be satisfied. Instead, I've kind of left with this strange feeling of
Emptiness.
yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, as thrilling as the next adventure might be, in the end, I always left with that same feeling. And sometimes you just gotta choose what you're gonna keep and what you're gonna let go.
Well, I guess I'm just not there yet.
Uncharted 4 is not really about finding Avery's treasure. It's about Nathan and Elena finally finding each other again. It's about the people you choose to share your life with, while chasing whatever passions you may have, and if you're truly lucky, getting to chase them together. That is why the final chapter of this game is not about Nathan, it's about Cassie, their daughter, discovering a cupboard full of memories, old adventures and old obsessions. But this time, no lies will be told, no secrets are kept. Cassie wants answers. Who are my parents really? And for the first time, Nathan and Elena can finally share their passion with the person born out of that very same passion. Because in the end, what are your trinkets, treasures, obsessions, and memories worth if you have no one you love to share them with?